to the Second Street Marvel. Now, I did title this morning movie chat a little bit different than I normally do. You guys see, I've been calling it the Trailer Park Live, and I don't know, maybe I just need to find a different name for it, since I call, the Trailer Park Live, the show that I do every single Friday night at 8 p.m. I call it that. So I don't know, maybe I need to, because I wanted to aim this stream pretty much more around movies in the first place. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think I should call it? You think this is a good one? Talking films, morning movie chat. I mean, that's kind of what it's aimed about. I don't know. Could just be me. But yeah, and I don't know if anybody actually tunes into this live here. Could you do me a favor and let me know down in the comments, how's my sound on here? Because I know sometimes this headset piece thing I got, it doesn't really sound too good. So if it doesn't sound great, please let me know. Now, as you can see, I am obviously not at the house today. At the studio doing my live stream, talking movies. But I went to Disneyland. In case you follow me here, and I guess before I get into anything, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it. Now, on these live streams, you guys are what make the show. If it wasn't for you guys, why would I be doing these live shows? Now, of course, this show, just like any other show that I've actually started, starts off slow. Not everybody jumps online and sees you online or streaming, or maybe they're busy at work or everything. People don't know to find you here quite yet. But I'm still going to go with it. I am a little bit late today, as you can see. I normally try to start it at 8 o'clock and go from about 8 to 9, because that's just the time that happens to work for me before I have to get to work, and before just anything like that. Even once school starts, it's probably about the only time. Even with my kids, I got to get them ready for school and everything in the morning. So yeah, I think. If you all have a family and kids and everything like that out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. But again, thank you guys for being here. Like I said, I am going to try to do this show every single morning between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just talking about just films, just movies, and different things like that. Where, I don't know. I guess on the Trailer Park Live, I'll talk about a bunch of different stuff. And on most of my videos, you see me talking about comic books. So, I know sometimes I need to mix it up a little more. I need to get more of those movie or more of those music reviews and just album reviews and things like that out there. Maybe just like band, artist videos, about some of the certain artists and everything I like. So, I know I definitely need to concentrate some more on that. But, maybe you guys should let me know about that down in the comments. What are some bands that you like? What's some of the music that you like? Obviously, music plays a huge part in movies, so it's something, I don't know, it interests me. So, and I've loved music ever since I was a little kid. So, kind of grow up on music. Music kind of reminds you of certain times in your life. Maybe it reminds you of certain moments in a movie. Just thinking about that. So yeah, let me know about that down in the comments. As you can see, man, I feel like I'm really rambling today. I'm really rambling, and I am sorry about the shaky video. Like I said, you can see I'm walking here. I didn't want to do the live stream from inside the hotel room. My kids are in there sleeping. My wife, my mother. So I didn't want to interrupt them. So I figured I'd take it for a walk here, and and do the chat that way. So something I was thinking about as we were at Disneyland yesterday. We were in line, and we were there. Obviously people were talking about stuff, and everything. And this guy started talking about. They were talking, I didn't really catch the whole conversation, but they were talking about Toy Story, because the guy was giving his ranking list. It was like, 2, 3, 1, 4, something like that, what his ranking is for the Toy Story movies. And again, I'm sorry if that's too loud out here. If it is, let me know, down in the comments. I can unplug this thing, or I can, whatever. But anyway, they were talking about the Toy Story ranking movies, movie ranks, and for me, and I don't really do ranking videos or anything. Maybe I need to try doing that one of these times. But one of the things is like, if I sat down to do a video about it, I'm going to tell you exactly why on all these things. But for me, the Toy Story ranking, it's pretty simple. I mean, I think we all know that it goes 3, 1, 2, 4. So I don't know. Maybe no. I'm sorry. That's 3, 1, 4, 2. 3, 1, 4, 2. Now I know there's probably people out there that would disagree with that, but that's why we all have our own opinions, right? But yeah, that's how it is for me. It's 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2. Now, of course, I've only seen the first one or the fourth one time, where I've seen pretty much all of the rest of them numerous times. We've got kids and we own them at the house, so yeah. I've seen them plenty. So but anyway, so they were talking about that, and they were talking about like Shrek movies, and just kind of giving the rankings on all these different movies and everything. And then they got into the subject of WALL-E, and it doesn't seem like there is a I don't know, here at Disneyland, California Adventure, any of those things, even in like the Pixar country stuff. Where's the WALL-E representation at, man? You know what I mean? We need some WALL-E, dude. I love the movie WALL-E, and I know I've certainly talked about it I'm pretty sure I talked about that on the Trailer Park Live before. Where to me, WALL-E is, man, it's one of the unsung greats, man. There's just so many different things that they talk about in that movie that I don't know. It covers a lot of ground and a lot of different things. I mean, it's in a crazy future where they're living in space. You can see, they put a little bit of science into it. The bone densities aren't as much from the no impact. Being in space and everything. And yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of an odd thing. And you know what? I'm gonna switch this around right there and there. That's a little easier for me to hold my phone this way. So, yeah, obviously, like some of that science into it, living in space, like with the bones and everything, and then also obviously about control, about people just believing whatever they're just told. The guy is waking up every day. He's the pilot of the ship, and all he does is goes through a routine that a book told him to do. You know what I mean? So just that kind of stuff that they put in the movie. I guess some profound things in such a cartoon. Then obviously, the movie is about WALL-E falling in love, essentially. You know what I mean? He starts, he meets Eva, and he's like, ooh, wow, she's a slick new looking droid and everything. And obviously by the end of the movie, he's he loves her and everything. He's going out and trying to save her, and he wasn't trying to necessarily save the people and the planet. He was merely trying to return the plant to Eva and everything, because that was her job, and he knew she liked it, but it was something that he liked, and she didn't want to see it destroyed. And I don't know, just a lot of kind of profound things in the movie. You know what I mean? Just all the different layers. But I just think a movie like that, maybe it's because it's such a good movie. They know that they can't pay it its proper due in Disneyland. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. For me, that was like a huge one, and that I think is kind of an overlooked movie is WALL-E. And man, it's probably loud as hell right now. I didn't even think about that, because we got the you can see it there. You can see all the stuff they got going on, the freeway and everything. Yeah, I guess that's the beauty of live streaming and not doing it at the house, where I'm in a controlled environment. So, but well, here, let me flip this thing around, see if anybody's actually tuned into me, flap my gums about the movie WALL-E. And well, we'll see. What we got here? Yeah, that's all right. I know, and I can't really see stats and everything here from how through what I'm streaming. So, and I don't know. I mean, maybe even the little chat things have disappeared and I can't see them. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, do you like the movie WALL-E? What do you think about it? I mean, is it one? Do you think it's overlooked? I mean, I think it's hugely overlooked. And I just, it's something I never really hear people talk much about. But I did notice that, they don't have anything over at Disneyland for WALL-E. I want some WALL-E. But, yeah, I was talking with some people the other day, too, and I was talking about that on the show. Did you ever see the movie Bedknobs and Broomsticks? Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and that was kind of the thing, was like, I realized, like, Disney has like a lot of classic movies, you know what I mean? Like, they used to do movies really great in the past, and it doesn't seem like, in the animation and everything, just everything that, I don't know, everything that I grew up with. I mean, I grew up watching a lot of Disney movies. My grandma had a bunch of VHS tapes and everything, just the different Disney movies, Cinderella, Snow White, I'm sure she had The Lion King. I think I only remember watching that when I was a kid, maybe once or twice anyway. But, now they're doing all these live action adaptations and everything, and some people like them, some people don't. And, the way I feel about it is, I mean, they're going back to what they know will sell. And I don't know, and that's kind of a bad thing too, because I mean, we need more imagination and stuff like that out there. Some new franchises. It doesn't even have to be a franchise, just some new movies and things like that. And there's a lot of people out there, speaking of that kind of stuff, is people talking about, they're getting tired of reboots and remakes, and then all of a sudden, they watch some new trailer for a sequel for a movie that hasn't had a sequel in like a really long time, and everybody's like, oh yes, some nostalgia. Like, that's a sequel. It's not really much different from a reboot or anything like that when you're doing it, 30 years later. And always makes me wonder, like, what kind of films do you want? What kind of films do you want? Like me, I have no problem with reboots, remakes, or anything like that. Mostly just due to the fact that I just only care as long as they're good. Just make them good. And one thing I always tell people about the reboots and remakes, like they recently did, well, I guess not recently, now it's been a few years, but they did that, the Point Break. They did that Point Break remake, and it just strikes me as odd because, that movie right there, everyone's like, this is junk, like a lot of people didn't like it and all this kind of stuff. And the thing is, like, if they would have done that movie and called it something else, would have had a different title, people would be saying, this is just like Point Break with a different title and some different people. This is like updated Point Break. You know what I mean? So there's really no win from some certain standpoints as well. If they want to try to redo, a story that's similar to that, And and don't get me wrong, I didn't see the new Point Break or anything like that, so I don't really care if you if you like the film or don't like the film. One of these days, I need to go watch it. But again, it's one of those situations where if they had called it something else, people would be saying, "Well, this is just Point Break." So I don't know. Maybe you do have to kind of play off that and be like, "Okay, well, might as well just call it Point Break." But I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think about that? And I mean, do you like all the reboots and remakes and things like that? Is it, do you mind them? Would you rather see something else, or what is there? Because like I said, I see a lot of these people out there. I see them. They'll make a video griping about all the reboots and remakes, and then they see like the Top Gun trailer and they're screaming nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is great. Or the new Ghostbusters they're getting ready to do. Oh, this is great. But, you know, essentially it's still, it's an other reboot. You know what I mean? It's another sequel. You know, I mean, rather, you know, and they're saying it's going to be a sequel, like a third installment of like the original Ghostbusters franchise. But even then, it's still like a reboot. I mean, let's face it, right? I mean, even if they call it a sequel. So, you know, I just don't know. I just don't know when it comes to things like that. And that's why I say I honestly don't care when it comes to things like that, reboots, remakes, as long as it's good. Now, however, it does have to be something that catches my interest, because, like, you know, I love Jon Favreau as a director, but I haven't watched The Jungle Book. I have no plans to watch The Lion King. You know, the same with Aladdin. You know, I don't have any plans to watch any of these movies. You know, it's not anything that I'm actively seeking out to try to do. But, you know, as soon as like the Disney streaming service, Disney Plus, is launched, I'm gonna have that, dude. I mean, come on, I'm gonna have it. And so I'll be sitting there. You know, I'm sure it'll end up being on there, so I can watch it for free. It's not free, you know, you're paying for the service. It's funny how people say that sometimes too. You know, they're like, oh, you can watch it for free on this. Well, I don't know. Don't you pay for the service? Like, you still pay for a service, so it's not really free. I don't know. Just something that kind of makes me laugh. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? The reboots, the remakes. I'm gonna flip this thing around, see if somebody's got something to say about all those things. And okay. Kermit the Log. Here's Second Street. What's good, brother? Welcome to the stream, Kermit. How you doing, man? I never watched the Point Break remake. Yeah, me neither. I never watched it. And again, for me, it's one of those things I really had no interest in. It's not that it looked like a bad movie or anything, because I honestly can't say I really watched any of the trailers. They should have made a sequel with Keanu. You know what? And at this point, that would have definitely been the smart thing to do. But again, I mean, I don't think they were. I think when that film was being made, and I don't know, because I haven't seen it, I don't know that they were planning on calling it that. I bet you maybe the studio they pitched it to was like, why don't we just call this Point Break so we could try to at least make some money on this movie? I don't know. I think that's kind of what that came down to, more than the fact that they were maybe trying to write a Point Break sequel. I don't know. That could be. That's really hard to say. Maybe I need to watch that movie and look into that. Let's see. During 3PO, how do you live stream without 1,000 subs? I'm magic, man. I just find ways to do stuff. I find ways to do stuff, man. That's what I do. I'm a doer. No, it's Streamlabs. Streamlabs for the on iOS. Sorry, I can't read with all the glare here and everything. Haha, you're right. Yeah, and you know, it's hard to say, man, with all these things. I mean, because you know, they probably were just writing a movie, you know, and shooting a movie, and they're like, well, we haven't thought of a title yet. Well, here, dude, use this. We made this movie, you know, 20 years ago. It'll work. And you know, the director probably said, okay, man, whatever. Point Break is one of my all-time favorite films. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's I definitely feel you there. You know, who doesn't like Point Break? I mean, it's 100% pure adrenaline. I remember they kept putting that in the trailers for that movie when it was getting released. But you know what? Like, and sometimes I kind of think back, like, oh, you know, cheesy movies like that. But I'm like, you know, like Point Break really wasn't that cheesy. You know, it wasn't too cheesy. And hell, it had Anthony Kiedis in it, right? Anthony Kiedis was in it. But yeah, Point Break, the original one, yeah, that was definitely a good one. I mean, Keanu was pretty young. Gary Busey in there as a partner in charge. You know, wanting to do the stakeouts and everything, and yeah, and then obviously, you know, like Patrick Swayze and you know his whole crew were introduced, and you know how they kind of start bringing him into the mix and everything. It was a really well put together film, and yeah, I mean, I think it kind of, I mean, it obviously showed a lot of things. You know, you see this cop where he's into it. You know, he's trying to get in with all these guys and infiltrate them and everything. And then next thing you know, he's basically in too deep. You know, and it's funny because, you know, at first he doesn't really realize that the people that he's dealing with and starting to hang out with are the people that he's looking for. Yeah, man, it's been a while since I've seen that. I need to buy. That's another one. I need to buy that too. Not even just watch it again. I need to buy that one. It's definitely one worth owning. But yeah, okay. Let me see. What other chats we got here? I watched Tango and Cash last night. Oh, dude, man, Tango and Cash is a great one, man. I like Tango and Cash. I mean, yeah, you got Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell, both of them. Not even, I don't know. Would that be their prime? I wouldn't even know if I'd say that was their prime. But it was just, yeah, that was definitely at a good point in their careers. Yeah, Jack Palance in there, playing the bad guy. Oh man, I can't remember. Man, that dude, he always played like. And that's another one I should probably own. I would think I. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm sure by now most of you guys have probably left the stream, but yeah, it wasn't your internet, Kermit. It wasn't your internet. It was my internet. Something happened, and there for a second I figured maybe YouTube demonetized me. Maybe Streamlabs said, "Oh, F this guy. We're not going to let this guy stream on our platform." But he's talking about stuff. No, he's talking about Last Action Hero. But yeah, that's what I was talking about, Last Action Hero, and just how good a movie that was too. I remember seeing that one in the at the movie theater, and it was definitely so. And you know, just playing a role in everything. So, and I think that's kind of what that movie plays to as well. People play like the same people in all their movies, whether it's like something about their particular persona or what. Man, see, messing up here like all kinds of crazy today. Unplugging my microphone. Maybe what they bring to the certain roles is kind of what does it, and that's what it seemed like. Like a lot of these older actors like that were charismatic, and they were able to do that. Where it seems like nowadays, it doesn't seem that way as much. Where you see somebody who kind of just brings their own personal charisma to the screen in ways like an old. A lot of these people, you know, like people in comedy who came up in doing comedy and in the comedy world and everything, they. Oh, wrong spot to turn. Even ridiculously unfunny TV sitcoms, you know, even that kind of comedy is hard to do, and you know, I think that's what, like I said, that's one of the things about comedy is people who do comedy. It's just a different world. You got to do so much more to get funny things across, and that's why it seems like you see like a lot of people, like actors in the past, came from like comedic backgrounds, like your John Candy, like Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks used to do. I wouldn't say he was a stand-up, but he did more like comedy major or through your mid, and so I mean, I guess obviously there's kind of a limited range, but SCTV maybe. Where Goldie Hawn used to be on one of those shows as well. It might be SCTV. What I'm thinking about, man. I actually feel bad that I can't even remember it. I guess that's what happens when I'm out walking, doing this, and you know, getting the juices flowing here instead of just sitting in the house. But yeah, he came up and doing comedy, and you see all the range of films he does. But because I think that's the thing about doing comedies, it's just, you know, I think that's why so many comedians get good at doing it, is because you have to learn all of those different things. You're not just relying on being just dramatic. You got to rely on being dramatic and comedic at the same time, because there's sometimes when you'll see something like in a movie that all it really takes is one little micro expression to make it from something that's dramatic to something comedic, or from something comedic to insanely serious. I mean, you've probably seen one of those movies where somebody's sitting there, in whatever role they're in. Say it's a dramatic role, and or like a comedic role. Everything's all good, and then all it takes is like one little expression, and all of a sudden, like it just like completely changes the movie from what it was. It takes a different tone. Like I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen that movie. What was that movie? Observe and Report. If you've ever seen that movie, Observe and Report, I mean, it's advertised as like a comedy. It's got Seth Rogen in it. What's his name? Michael Pena. Where they're basically mall security. What's her name is in it? Anna Faris. She's in it as well. Like in that movie, it was such a great movie, and it did so many things. But like one of the things was, it played on like pretty much stereotypical action tropes, but then also, how like actors always seem to play like themselves in movies. They kind of do the similar roles all the time, and that was one of the kind of things that I thought was funny about it. And then how we just get like these actors who do kind of do that throughout their career. They're kind of playing the same person over and over. Like a Danny DeVito in a movie is always Danny DeVito. Being in the industry, from something to being funny to something being dramatic or serious or anything like that. And Observe and Report is what I was basically getting at is it's one of those films, like it takes a dramatic shift at one point in the movie. Okay, like huge. Like I remember sitting in the movie theater, like I got punched in the face with what happened. But you kind of see the setup where you can see that they're mall cops, and they're just walking around just being a bunch of jackasses. The one of them has an insanely that it's obviously his partner that he's working with. But the thing is like there's this one scene in there where everything's all funny. They're chasing people through people who were stealing stuff, and then all of a sudden, smack, bam! It just cuts to a scene where his partner is sitting there shooting up heroin. And I remember when I first seen that, even at the movie theater, the first time I seen that, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it wasn't done in like a cool way or just kind of casual, like an actor who's irreplaceable, really, in the film world, because you don't. It's really hard to find that out of actors. There's some actors who can pull it off every now and again, but I mean, there's then there's people like I said, like a John Candy, a guy who comes around every now and again and just seems to be good at their craft and that's what I was telling you. I can't remember the name of the show that he was on. I think it was SCTV. Pretty sure that was the name of it. There was that. What else was there? Laugh-In? I think Laugh-In was another one of those ones. But that's where it seems like a lot of these great actors come from, is comedic backgrounds, between being moronic and idiotic. Just all of these different things. That they as comedians and especially comedic actors learn to do, and especially when they're on those shows like that where they're doing a lot of improv and things like that. I don't care what kind of arts it is, whether you're talking movies, music, art, like paintings, drawings, stuff like that. There are some things that you just can't teach, and that's the thick of it, and that's where you get those people like a John Candy, an actor out there who can't be replaced, or you get all these other actors out there who seem to make a career out of playing roles of just like being themselves, because themselves being that role is kind of, I mean, in and of itself is kind of a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I said, like a Danny DeVito, you go watch him in any movie, he's Danny DeVito in a movie, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what he does, what he brings to roles. I mean, I don't know, and that's not to say that he's a bad actor at all, because you see him in all of these different roles. God, I can't remember what one was. The one he was playing a lawyer, and man, I can't even remember. I can see the movie in my head. I need to go back and do some more film study for these things like that, because Danny DeVito, he's another one of those great actors too. But like again, he plays himself most of the time, and there's and I think there's a lot to be said about actors and things like that who are like that, who can play those kinds of roles, and just and bring all those nuances to it. And man, I totally got way off the subject of those Disney movies because I wanted to talk about some more of those Disney movies too. The all-time greats, man. I always loved watching Pete's Dragon. That was another one of those movies that my grandma had when I was growing up that she would put on for us to watch and everything. Man, oh God, what was that other one? The Apple Dumpling Gang? Was that a Disney movie? Apple Dumpling Gang? I can't remember. Because people say they want, they're tired of these reboots and remakes, but again, then they see something like the Top Gun trailer, like, oh, it's pure nostalgia, and it's like, but just like yesterday, you were griping about reboots and remakes, and now you're talking nostalgia. So what is it that you want? Do you want a reboot, a remake? Do you want something original, or do you want nostalgia? Because there's a difference, and obviously you can make a nostalgic film that isn't a reboot or a remake, to the 50s and 60s and things like that. So, I mean, just because it doesn't have to be a reboot or a remake to necessarily be nostalgia, but again, but I think most people, when they think of nostalgia, they're thinking like that, like something like one of these classic films, that want to see again, like they're doing a new Rambo movie, a new Rocky movie, and again, people are, some people, I'm sure some people are kind of divided on that on that whole issue, like Rocky, Rambo. I mean, I remember, God, what was it, the last Rambo movie? That movie was absolutely great. Sylvester Stallone came right out he straight went at him, man, and that was absolutely great. And that's what I want out of a Rambo movie, right? I mean, him just going on on this righteous crusade to bring down just some definite evildoers. And then apparently they're doing he's doing a new Rocky movie, and that's I don't know, at this point, does that I don't know if that really counts as nostalgia, because but the first one, I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right. I mean, it wasn't like take a weird shift as well, like from when the first Rocky came out, and then to the like the fifth, that was not Rocky 5. I think it was just called Rocky Balboa. Isn't that the one where he was it was more just like grounded, more like the first. Man, it's been a while since I watched that one. I need to own all those. I think I've only got the first one. I don't even have 2 or 3 or 4. Man, what kind of film fan am I? Yeah, I'll probably just do like every film fan does these days anyway, and buy it on digital and not actually has a physical copy. Isn't that what's so cool these days? Not have the physical copy. You gotta stream it. You gotta stream it. No, man, I like my physical media. I haven't seen. Oh, yeah. I can't remember which movie that might have been. Oh, was it Pete's Dragon? Pete's Dragon, maybe. Pete's Dragon is a good one. I like the Pete's Dragon movie. But again, and that was the other thing. I remember, like movies. When I was a kid, was one of those movies I was talking about. I probably shouldn't have seen, but Heavy Metal. You ever see Heavy Metal? That was obviously it's cartoon, but then it was like kind of scary, kind of had some freaking. What was it? Heavy Metal 2000. Brought a bunch of different artists in and started actually a really great movie. I remember watching it too, as a kid, seeing some of the stuff going on there, like being freaked out about it. Like, what was it when the guy was in court? What was it, hand over fist? And he's sitting there rolling that ball back and forth, and then all of a sudden, like, he starts like hulking out and going all crazy and like, dude, I was a kid, man, bro. I was a kid watching that stuff, and I was like, whoa, dude, like, what the? Oh man, that was some mind blowing stuff. Like nowadays, the age I was when I was watching that movie, parents would be like, oh no, my kids can't watch that. But yeah, I have to admit, maybe it might have been one that it might not have been totally appropriate for me to watch when I was the age that I was watching it. But it was, for all intents and purposes, it was a really great movie. As far as I remember, body, and just drawing it, and just stuff like that, just trying to do, just trying to draw stuff like that, and that's magazines like that, and then there was like Creepy magazine. I remember that. But like I said, Boris Vallejo was definitely, and his wife Julie Bell were definitely huge inspirations of mine. But again, like my art, I only do black and white. I just do pencils, and just do everything through shading and all that stuff. Is how I like to do my draw. Again, I don't think, and it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of movies that I remember seeing out there like that. Like I remember, I'm not sure you ever seen the movie Videodrome. Videodrome. It's got isn't it James Woods in that? I think James Woods was the guy that was in Videodrome, and just remember that like there was that scene. He had yeah, man. I haven't seen that since I was a kid neither. I'm sure that's probably on like Netflix or Amazon or something like that. I could probably go and find that somewhere to watch as well. I need to get on. I haven't really been on Amazon or anything and watched any of these series. I don't watch a whole lot of TV shows, but I do need to take some time to sit down and watch the movies. I'm just always so busy doing everything, I just I grew up watching a lot of movies. Yeah, James Woods. Yeah, he's a great actor. Movies is, do they actually have the range in acting skills? And that's the thing is, most of these people do. I mean, you look at Danny DeVito, he does. You look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, does he have a range? He actually does. You wouldn't think about it, because considering you don't see him delivering lines and lines and lines of dialogue like say Idris Elba did in Molly's Game in that one scene where they're setting down. It's just a. Did it come back on? All right. I don't know. Must have been my connection timing. People just didn't expect others to have to bend to their will, I guess. And that was I guess maybe that's something that we're missing nowadays anyway. Is and you could say all day long there are people, actors and athletes and just all these people out there career, which is fine. I mean, that's how they make money. They've got their career and stuff like that, and I get that. But again, I mean, you can still be human. I mean, unless you're out there just doing like some really bad stuff. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You're not really get the chance to be, I guess, personal with people, like, and gain, get friends and things like that, because they essentially have no lives, because they're too busy, furthering their career and all these kinds of things. And again, that's a good thing. I mean, you got to further your career, right? I mean, you got to make money. But oh man, it looks like my signal's going again. Don't cut out on me, signal. Come on, man. But yeah, and it's just, I think that affects their work. And but he was a normal guy that had his own opinions. He was obviously came from a comedic background where they kind of make fun of a range of different people and things and situations and stuff. Like, come on, Connection, don't be timing out on me, Connection. Yeah, you better get it. There we go. And I don't know. I think that's just a bad thing. And but I think that's probably what a lot of it is a lot of these people these days are just robots. They're just slaves to the grind. You know what I mean? And I get it, but themselves or be themselves. And like I can say, most of these people, they're probably not bad people, right? They're probably just trying to play the safe game so they can keep making money, so they can keep getting roles, so they can get jobs working for Disney, because Disney's going to stick their act like a doctor and stick their finger in them to give them a role. You know what I mean? And so a lot of these people don't want to say anything. They don't want to be controversial. They're not, and just saying stuff isn't necessarily controversial in itself. It's what everybody else makes of it. But then if you go out and you say like, that's totally not what I meant. This is then all of a sudden you're that is the bad thing about those kinds of things. You know what I mean? All the time. I think a lot of people feel the same way about a lot of issues that are like serious, important issues, not the stupid crap that people want to push, like the identity politics and all of that stuff. I mean, I get it, yes, but a lot of that stuff kind of gets pushed. Like, that's not important. A lot of people, too many people, focus on that as opposed to just like getting to know people and letting people be themselves. Nerdy Blur TV, welcome to the stream, man. How you doing? Yeah, and I think a lot of that is kind of, it definitely affects the industry and just like I said, that's a big thing. You know, there's, you know, and I get it too. You know, I've got a family. You know, I've got bills to pay and all that stuff too. But it's let that be. You know what I mean? I think that's part of the huge problem is some people can't leave the fact that they disagree with somebody alone. Like they can't be like, okay, like we disagree, it's all good. And that's the thing. You know, it's important to me because I love movies, and I'm sure that you probably do too. If you don't like some of the things that you've been seeing just out there in the world today. But anyway, let me know down in the comments how you about all that. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Good to know it's not just me; it's happening to you. Yeah, it's just this the connection here. I'm on my phone and everything, not sitting at home plugged into